Okay, so let's now bring this all together. We're going to combine our E and A string power chords. Now, before we get started, make sure you have both of these down pretty well, especially the low E string. The A string is not as important, although you definitely want to have a decent handle on it. But your low E string power chords, you have to have those memorized because this whole exercise depends on those low E string power chords. So if you don't have that down yet, then stop, don't move on yet. Get those down really well first. And then when you're ready, come back and we'll move forward. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to start with our low E power chords. And then we're going to play the power chords on our A string. And for now, what we're going to do is we're going to skip the Fs. We're going to come back to F later on. So let's start out by playing our open E5 chord. Now what we do is bring our finger down, and here is our matching A chord. It's E5. And A5. But at this point, we're not going to worry about naming them. Later on, when you got all this down, you can go back in to name all the chords. E, A, F, B, G, C, and so on. But for now, we're going to name the chord on an E string. Here's our E. Then we're going to go down directly below. Here's our matching chord in A. Now if you do that, we got to go back to our chords on the E. So we were on E, go to F. But we're going to skip this for now. So now instead of finding our chord on the A string, we're going to go to G. Find our matching chord, we simply go down directly below and play our matching chord in the A string. Back to our E string, we go over to A, go down, and there is our matching chord in the A string. A to B, with our B, we go directly down. Here's our chord in the A string. C, go directly down, chord in the A string. D, directly down. There's a chord in the A string. E, directly down, go to F. Now here's the oddball one. On the F, you go over and then down. Again, F, go over and then down. I like to think of it as the diagonal. But in the beginning, just think over and then down. Now here's our F. Let's bring that down an octave to this F. And guess what we do here? Yes, we got to go over and then down. And there's our chord on the A string. So let's take a run through all this. So it's E, go directly down. Here's our F, go over and down. Go back to the F, we got G. Go directly down, over to A, directly down, B, directly down, C, directly down, D, directly down, E, directly down, F, over and down. So as you see, basically every single chord goes directly down, except for our Fs. F goes over and down. Not really too hard to remember, right? So there you go. There are all your power chords on both your E and A. And so we went up. You also, just like the other exercises, you need to move down because we're not always going to be playing up. Now, when you go down, I'm not talking about playing your chord on your A string and then go and find your chord on your E string. you're going to get messed up anyway. It's going to be, oh boy, where was this chord on the A string? That's not what I mean at all. You're going to always start with your chord on your E string and then follow that by your A string chord. Chord on E string, A string, chord on E string, A string. So we're just going to simply start with F, go one down. So there's F, go down half step to E, go to D, directly down, go to C, directly down, half step down to B, directly down, our A, down, G, down, F, over and down, and then finally our E, and then directly down. There are all your power chords on both your low E and your A strings. And again, later on, when you got this all down, you can start to name both of them. E, A, F, B, G, C, and so on, all the way up to neck. So there you go. All your power chords on the E and A string. And again, just like the rest of the exercises, you want to make sure you apply this in a musical way. So, yep, you're just going to start jamming. So let's see. And then you make sure, you want to consciously make sure you switch between the chords. You don't want to go and play a whole bunch of stuff on the E string and then maybe do one chord on the A string. You're going to consciously move between them. You need to get that practice down. So to start out, what you want to do is memorize a little small section, because this is a lot to absorb in one shot. Okay, so we got, you can do them separate. Here's E, F, G. So we got that, and then A, B, C. And just use that small area to begin with, and then just create something. Yeah, just make some progressions. And again, you can make it nice and simple. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't have to get all fancy. And again, you try this in different areas. Say right up here, I want to try right here. So you got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And in these areas, it's really easy because everything is directly connected up and down. There's no going over or anything. It's only where the F's are. So these other areas are going to be even easier. And you do the same thing. Just create something in there. Create little things within there. And then what you want to do, you got these going in different areas. You start with in a smaller area here, but you extend it more. So instead of just these, you're going to add in maybe this chord, and then your these two chords here, and you kind of jump around there. And then eventually you'll go even further, like maybe something up here. And yeah, just keep expanding. You want to be able to easily jump from one area to another. And yeah, you're not always going to be doing that a lot, but for our purposes, you want to be able to get to that point. You want to be able to just freely jump around without having to even think about it. Okay, so there you go. Now you're able to mix both the E and A strings together. Now this opens up all kinds of possibilities. And again, I would just want to repeat, when you're working on this, do it in small little sections. Just pick a few frets and get those chords within those few frets down, and then try another few frets and work on those and continue in that way. And then just expand, just jump a little bit further, and then just a little bit further until you can just jump freely all around the neck. And another thing you want to make sure you don't do is focus too much on one string. You don't want to play a whole bunch of stuff on the E string and then maybe one chord on the A string. You want to consciously jump around from different, string to string, because that's what we're trying to practice. We want to move very easily from an E string power chord to an A string power chord. When you jam on a progression, yes, you can do that. Stick on one for most of it and then play a random chord on the other strings. But our purposes here are to practice moving from one string to another. So yeah, make sure you're conscious about that when you're making your jams. So it's very easy to get stuck into, especially if you've been playing on the E string for quite a while and the A string for a while. It's very easy to get stuck into just staying on those strings for most of it. So yeah, it's going to take a little bit of work to build that habit, but just make sure you jump around between strings and you start playing in larger and larger areas. And pretty soon, before you know it, you're going to be jumping all over the place and not hesitating. It's going to be like second nature. So yeah, go ahead, grab some tracks, and yeah, by the way, here's a really good tip. You can do this all on your own, at first, that's good, but go to YouTube and find some really cool sounding drum tracks. And this is going to give you some inspiration, and it's going to make things a lot more fun. So it's basically, you're going to be jamming to a drummer. So, and there's all kinds of different styles of drum tracks and different speeds all over YouTube. So just go there and search those up. And yeah, just start jamming. Yeah, have fun with this. And again, it's great to do exercises, but you want to apply everything in a musical way. Otherwise, it's meaningless. We're here to play music, not exercises. Exercise is part of it and a necessary thing for when you're learning and you're practicing, but music is the ultimate goal, and you got to try to apply everything you can in a musical way. So, yep, grab your guitar, get jamming, and if you have any problems, then just let me know and we'll get you all straightened out. What we'll be doing in future lessons, is we're going to take all these chords, put them in a couple patterns, and then you're going to start working on how to take all of these chords and play them in different keys. And it's going to be the same thing. The result is you're going to be able to do this without thinking eventually. But for now, don't worry about that. Really focus on all this and get this down solid. So there you go. Again, any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we will see you in another lesson.